Hello, my friends. Welcome back to a new episode of Traffic Jam with Cam. I feel like it's been forever since I've recorded, and I feel like I have so much to tell you guys. So, thank you for tuning in. I'm so excited to just talk to you guys about my week, or past 2 weeks, I guess, and what's kind of been going on. And I'm also excited about today's topic. Today we're going to be talking about college in general, and I'm also going to be sharing in a little more detail my college experience and just kind of how it was, how I felt about it, and maybe some tips or advice that I might have at the end. And then I also asked some questions on my Instagram, some college related questions, and I thought some of the answers were super interesting, so I'm going to share those kind of towards the end as well. But before we get into that, I have got to give you guys a recap of my week, or 2 weeks, I guess. Okay, well, first of all, let me just say that Halloween ended up being way more fun and exciting than I thought it would be. Adam and I didn't really have any Halloween plans going into it, and so we didn't really plan a costume at all until last minute. I really do love dressing up. I think it's super fun, but I just kind of thought this year, since we weren't doing anything, like there weren't any like Halloween parties, or we weren't really going to see anyone, or didn't really have any fun things to do for Halloween, so we weren't planning on dressing up because I just felt like we maybe didn't have a reason or occasion to. Anyway, a few days before Halloween, we actually were invited to like a Halloween dinner, and so we were scrambling to try to find costumes, and it ended up being pretty good, I'll tell you that. But before I tell you about the party, I also have to tell you about this really cool neighborhood that we heard about. There are some people that we know from the church that we go to, and they told us about this neighborhood that like goes all out for Halloween. They were having a contest, I guess, of who had the best decorations and the best house. And it ended up being like a 3-mile walk, so it was kind of longer than we thought it was going to be. But you walk around, and there were maybe like 8 or 10 houses that just had wild decorations. They were super cool. And we just walked around at nighttime and got to see them all lit up and all the cool decorations, and people went really hard here. So that was super fun to see. We also carved pumpkins the week before Halloween, which really got us in the Halloween mood. And I got Adam to watch Halloween Town with me. It was great. It was so cute, and I actually hadn't watched it in quite a long time, so it was fun to remember what actually happened in it. And super cheesy, super Halloween-y. It was really fun. Got us in the Halloween mood. And we also made I made chili one night, and Adam made this delicious cornbread. It had like cheddar cheese and green chilies in it, I think. Oh, it was so delicious. That was like the best combination, and I thought like the ultimate fall meal. So that was super delicious. And then we did go to the party. It was actually on Halloween, and it was like a spooky dinner. So we went to our friend's apartment, and they had invited a bunch of couples, and everyone dressed up. There were spider webs all over, and like pumpkins and spider webs, spiders. I can't remember if I already said that. And a lot of delicious food, and it was fun to see everyone's costume. So you know how Adam and I are obsessed with Survivor, so we were like, well, that would be pretty easy to get together. So we made some makeshift buffs and printed off like the Survivor logo. We got a real coconut that is like the green ones that are on the show. And Adam dressed up like Jeff Probst, and I dressed up just as a random contestant. And it was super fun. And we were pretty excited about it. The people that like don't know Survivor or weren't familiar with it were like, what are you guys? But we just like, the two of us just thought it was so funny that we didn't really care. As for the rest of this last week, it's, oh my gosh, it's already November 6th. That's crazy. That's like a whole week into November. Okay. Yeah, this week I just had work. Honestly, the Monday through Thursday that I work the long days at the office, I literally have time for nothing else. And the more I have been working, the more I'm realizing, oh my gosh, this stinks. And I'm just kind of sad that I feel like that, because I was really hoping that I would love my job and like love what I'm doing. And I'm sure it will like still just take more time and I need to get more used to it. I reached out to one of my instructors from school last week, and I was just kind of telling her how I felt, and she's like, oh, it took me about a year to kind of get settled in and get used to it. I'm like, a year? I have to wait for like a year or be working for a year until I feel kind of settled and more used to what I'm doing. Oh my gosh. Now it's been like 3 months. Yeah, I just hit like my 3-month mark of working as a dental hygienist, and my body is just so exhausted. Like in school, they warn us and like they told us dental hygiene is so hard on your body. It's like the most physically demanding job you can do because you're getting up and down all the time. You're like running around in between patients, and then when you have a patient, you're working with your hands and you have to be like super concentrated the whole time. And so it just is really tiring mentally and also physically. It's just like a lot of physical work and work with your hands, and your back gets tired and your neck gets tired. And, you try your best to keep good ergonomics, which is, making sure that your posture is good and you're doing things that are helping to protect like, your joints and everything like that. But it's still hard, and I just feel like I come home from work every day and I'm just wiped out and I don't want to do anything else. And I also feel like I don't have much time to do everything else. Anyway, moral of the story is work is way harder than I thought it was going to be. I honestly right now feel like it's harder than school was. So yeah, that kind of ties into what we're going to talk about today, and I'll talk about that a little bit more. But moral of the story is during the work week, I feel like I don't have time to do things that I like to do, which a lot of people probably understand. People that work, you obviously don't have time to do things that you want to do. So that's kind of hard. I thought that I would like look forward to going to work, and that's not the case. So, I'll keep you guys updated with that. But that's been kind of surprising to me because of how much I have loved dental hygiene or been interested in like teeth and dentistry and working with patients kind of since I was younger. And I still was like so excited about it in school, and I just thought it was really fun. And so it's just been really surprising to not feel that way now that I'm actually like doing it. And it's like, okay, wait, what's going on? Okay, I have a super random traffic jam of the week today, but it is a traffic jam nonetheless. My traffic jam of the week, or if you're new here, a traffic jam is, a metaphor, something that this week just really bugged me or that I want to complain about, something that is annoying, just like how, traffic is annoying and nobody likes it. This is, my traffic jams of the week are usually things that are just random things that I don't like or that I don't understand. And I like to share them because I just want to be real with you guys, and also because if you are feeling like this too, then I just want you to know that you're not alone. So I'm here to do the complaining, and you can just feel better about your complaining as well. So the traffic jam of the week this week is running. Just running in general, the sport, the act of running. I just hate it. I have never liked it. I cannot tell you how many times I have tried to go on a run, get into running. I promise you guys, I feel like I've given it some fair shots, but it's not for me. And I would probably rather do almost anything else than go on a long run. Like I don't think I'm made for it. And when I say I've given it a fair shot, I really mean Like I would go every day or every other day for a few weeks and really try to stay on top of it and go for a good amount of time. And I thought that maybe I would get more used to it, but that didn't really happen. And I've never enjoyed it. I don't think it's like refreshing. I don't know how people like run and say that it clears their head, because when I run the whole time I'm thinking, when is this going to be over? So if you feel the same way too, join the club. We will find other cardio activities to enjoy. I'm a dancer, and so that is like when I dance and like I just don't feel tired. And it's always been like that. Like when I had practice in high school and when I danced in college too, I mean, like I could be going for hours and not be just wiped out, and after running for 5 minutes I feel like I'm gonna die. So dance is like super intense cardio if you make it. And yeah, I could like dance forever, but please don't make me run. All right, let's get into today's topic, which is just my college experience and also just things I wish I would have known about college. Yeah, so let's start. I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what my college experience was like, and then we'll jump into the questions that I posted on my Instagram at the end, and we're just going to kind of talk through those also. So I graduated high school in spring of 2017, and I went to college right away after I graduated. So I graduated in the beginning of May, I believe, of 2017, and then I actually started my first semester of college in a summer semester. So I started like mid-June of 2017. I attended my first year of college. I went to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And this is an interesting little twist to my story, because most of you guys know that I went to college in Idaho for most of my college experience. My first year of college, my freshman year, I actually did in Utah. And there are a couple of reasons for this. First of all, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to do dental hygiene, but at the same time, I also just was really drawn to BYU, and I am not sure why. Still to this day, I don't know. I couldn't tell you why exactly. I just felt like I needed to go there for whatever reason. And I did think it would be cool to go to a university that had high standards. I really liked that the school's standards and that they were high, and that they had high expectations for their students, and kind of encouraged students to live a lifestyle that aligned with the way that I was living my life. And so I liked the idea of attending a school that supported that. Also, my parents went there, and so yeah, they both went to school at BYU, and that's where they met, and they both had good experiences there. And so I was interested also for that reason. I also was interested in going there because I felt like it was a good distance away from home. It was about a 5.5 or 6 hour drive from Idaho to Provo, or from Boise, Idaho to Provo, Utah. And I thought that would be a good, because it's, I wanted to be in a different state. I thought, okay, I'm going to go to college out of state and have that experience and be kind of far away from my family, but also, 6 hours is not too bad to drive back home for holidays or for breaks or whatever. So the reason why earlier I mentioned that I knew I still did want to do dental hygiene is because BYU actually did not have a dental hygiene program. And so I was trying to find a way that I could do both. So I knew that I probably wouldn't, I knew that I wouldn't attend BYU for my full 4 years of college, but I just thought that that would be a good start, and I'd be able to do like my general classes at BYU and then find a program in dental hygiene that I could transfer to. And there was a program in Utah, actually, that was pretty close to BYU. That was a 2-year program, but it was like a private school. And so you actually had to do your prerequisites, your 2 years of like general classes at another university before applying there. So originally I actually thought that I was going to do my first like 2 years at BYU and then transfer to this private dental hygiene school in Utah and do school there. So that was kind of my plan. I was just going to go to BYU and see how I liked living in Utah and then kind of go from there, because there were quite a few colleges in Utah that had dental hygiene programs. So I thought, okay, even if I didn't end up not wanting to go to this private school, I would find another program in Utah. I also wanted to find a program in Utah because I originally didn't think I wanted to stay in Idaho. I was like, okay, I like Idaho. I was like my hometown, but I want to get out of there. And the only dental hygiene program in Idaho was in eastern Idaho in Pocatello. And I just knew that I did not want to live in Pocatello. I had no interest in that. I knew it was a very small town. And I just knew that I didn't want to go to Idaho State in Pocatello. So I applied for BYU. That was actually the only school that I applied for. Well, I think I maybe applied to like Boise State or I don't know. But I really only wanted to go to BYU, and I had prayed about it and read about it. I just done a lot of like research and a lot of prayer, and I just felt really strongly that that was where I was supposed to go. And so I applied and I did not get in. And I was super surprised because I was like, why do I feel like I'm supposed to go here? Like I just feel how could I feel so drawn to it and not get in? Like that just doesn't make any sense. I was just so surprised. And I didn't have any other plan to go to another school, and I just did not want to go to any other school. I was like, I know I'm supposed to go here. I just knew it. And I reached out to one of the admissions directors, and I had reached out to them over email, and I asked for some help understanding maybe why or what could have been different, because just for like a quick background, because I knew that I wanted to go there, I had spent so much time and effort preparing to just have like the best application, because it's very competitive to get into BYU. So I thought that I was a really good candidate. You know, I was super involved in high school. I was, the president of some clubs. I was captain and co-captain of my dance team. I had a great GPA. I took the ACT and I thought I got a great score there. I was the seminary president, and I was just involved in a lot of extracurricular things. I was in my leadership class. I was, secretary of the National Honor Society. I just thought at the time I had all of these things on my resume or my application that would make me a really good candidate for being a BYU student. And so I reached out to this admissions director and I just said, hey, is there any way you can look at my application one more time? Is this a mistake? Can we talk about this? Because I know that I'm supposed to go here. And I was very persistent about it. And I was able to schedule a meeting with somebody and kind of talk with him and see what my options were going forward, because I was determined to go to BYU. So after like talking through things with this guy, figuring out what was going on, I asked him, I'm like, can you tell me like why I didn't get in? And he's like, I'm looking at your application right now. I have no idea why you didn't get in. Like, honestly, like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, great. Thanks a lot. And he told me that there was kind of a loophole, something that I could do, to try to get in. So he looked at my college credits that I had and saw that, the concurrent credits or dual credits or whatever that I had done in high school that I actually almost had enough to apply to BYU as a transfer student, as if I were transferring from another school. I think I was like 4 or 5 credits short. I think I had like 20 from high school or something like that. And you had to have 25. So he gave me this option that I could apply to be a visiting student. Didn't even know any of this was a thing. I could apply to be a visiting student and take classes at BYU, but I wouldn't technically be a BYU student. I'd have to go in the summer and be a visiting student, so not an official student, but I'd be taking BYU classes. And I could take 2 classes over the summer that would be my last few credits to apply as a transfer student, and then transfer to BYU to be a student there. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. Like, I'll do whatever I need to. So the next day I got on to their website. I did a new application to be a visiting student, and I was accepted maybe a week or so later. I was accepted to be a visiting student, and the condition was that I needed to move right away and start the summer term. And so after graduation, like 2 or 3 weeks later, I moved to Provo, and I attended BYU as a visiting student for the summer semester, and I finished those 5 credits. And then I applied to be a transfer student, and because I was finishing the credits at the end of summer, they actually told me it was too late to start in the fall semester. So after my summer semester ended, I applied to be a transfer student, right, as if I were coming from another school, and then I would start in January of the next year. Hopefully this is all making sense. It's quite a loophole. If you ask me, it was a hassle, but to me at the time, it was like so worth it. Like, that is how strongly I felt prompted to go there, and I just like knew that I would do anything to get there. So I did the summer semester. I applied at the end of that summer to be a transfer student, and then that semester, the fall semester, while I was waiting to start as a transfer student in January, which I did get accepted to be a transfer student, I just worked 2 jobs and saved up money while I was there. So I worked as a dental assistant in the fall, and then I also worked at Called to Surf, which is a clothing boutique, and it was the dreamiest job that I have ever had, and it's still my favorite job that I've ever had, like, to this day. But I started that job in like June when I just first moved to Provo, and then I worked there for a year until like the middle of the next summer when I actually came to Idaho State. So I worked at this clothes boutique for a year, and that was seriously the dreamiest job ever. And that's also where I met my best friend now. And if there is no other reason that I was supposed to go to BYU other than to like meet my best friend, then I would be like, okay, that was worth it. So I'm just like so glad that I was there, even just for a little over a year, because I was able to meet her, and she's just been like such a blessing in my life. So anyway, I'm so glad that I moved to Provo and worked at Called to Surf so that I could meet her. And the other girls at Called to Surf were so much fun to work with, and it was just such a fun job. Anyway, I can talk more about that later, but it was so fun to just like work with the clothes. We worked in the warehouse sometimes to package shipments and like tag new orders and things like that. So fast forward to fall ends, fall of 2017. I finished my fall semester of not doing school, just working those 2 jobs, clothing boutique and dental assistant. And I started officially as a BYU transfer student. So I was officially a student now in January of 2018. So I did a whole semester there. of prereqs, and then I also did the spring semester. So like it's like the shorter, more condensed semester. I think it's like 8 weeks from like end of April to the end of June. And I did that. So I did 3 semesters total at BYU. And at that third semester, so the spring semester, I was like, okay, now I have like most of the classes that I need to apply for a dental hygiene program. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do here. I looked into other dental hygiene programs, the ones that I had looked into before, actually, the private school, the one in like northern Utah, another one that was really close to BYU. There were like 3 in Utah that I was looking at. And as I was looking at all of those, I just remember not being drawn to any of them. And I was just like, okay, what is going on? Like, maybe I just need to pick one and see how it is. And then randomly, like, I'm not even kidding, I woke up one day and I was like, I need to look at ISU. And I was super frustrated and annoyed at first because I was like, why would I move all the way to Utah and like be looking at Utah schools and be like go through all this hassle if I could have just gone to like that college in Eastern Idaho that had the dental hygiene program? Like, why would I do that? And I just was so confused, and I was like, why am I feeling like I need to go there? It did not make sense. And anyway, that was a school that I felt like I needed to go to. So I switched gears all in like one day, the same morning that I woke up, and I was like, I need to go to ISU. I looked up all of like the classes that I needed to have, and there were, a little more than a semester's worth of classes that I needed to have, but I was like, nope, I'm going. I guess I need to go. So I packed my bags, applied to be a transfer student again to Idaho State, and there I went. So I did my whole freshman year at BYU in Provo. Then that summer of 2018, I moved to Pocatello, Idaho, and I was not happy about it. I really wasn't. I did not want to be in a small town, and yeah, I was not super excited about it at first. And then it was just seriously such a miracle that as soon as I started that first semester of my sophomore year at ISU, my heart like totally changed, and I was like, okay, this is like a perfect fit for me. Like, this is such a good pace. BYU was super competitive, super draining. Everybody gets A's there. And so if you don't get A's, you're like dumb. Like, that's just how it felt. Like, the being there was I just didn't like the environment. I loved everything about living in Provo except for BYU. I just don't think it was for me. I'm not saying that it's not a good school. It just was not my pace. I didn't like the competitiveness of it. I didn't like the stigmas there. So anyway, it wasn't for me, but I'm so happy that I was able to work the jobs that I did there when I was there and get all that experience. And I just made so many wonderful friends. I had so many fun experiences while I was in Provo. I would drive to go visit my uncles. I got to visit one of my really good friends that lives like in northern Utah. I went to Lagoon, that amusement park there. I went there all the time. And yeah, it was a super fun experience. There's a lot around there to do. And so I feel like I really made the most of living there when I did. And it was just so fun because it was like my first year of like being totally independent, right? So anyway, Pocatello was totally different because there's not a ton to do around there. But I really liked the pace of the school. So that sophomore year of school, I was just really focused on making sure that my grades are what they needed to be and getting all of the classes finished that I needed to apply for the dental hygiene program. So my sophomore year, I sent in my dental hygiene application, and then that spring of my sophomore year, I was admitted into the program, and that was like the happiest day of my life. I just felt like all of my hard work had finally paid off and I had made it into the dental hygiene program. Both of those the 2 first years of college were just so fun, just full of like fun things with friends. Like, yes, I was trying to focus on academics and stuff, but I was able to spend a lot of fun time with some really good friends. In the program, the first semester of the dental hygiene program was also like a highlight of my life. Like the people in the dental hygiene program with me, I cannot even tell you how incredible they are. Like all 30 whatever of us, 31 of us, 32 of us were like just all meant to like come together. I know that sounds so silly, but we were so tight, like right from the get-go. And I'm just so happy to have had such an awesome support system there. Like all of us were going through the same thing at the same time. It was so demanding. But that first semester of us all getting to know each other and just like suffering through it together, like we took 21 credits in that first semester of our junior year. And we were just all like dying. Dental hygiene first semester is like learning a new language. Just, it's so foreign and different than like anything that you learn in just general classes like in college. It's just completely different. And so us all going through it together was the best thing ever. So first semester of the program was super demanding, but super fun. We get to second semester and we were getting ready to start seeing patients. So in the dental hygiene program, you have to recruit your own patients, right? So the first semester had just worked on each other in our dental hygiene clinic. And then starting in January of 2020, we started our second semester of junior year. We started seeing patients. And it was really hard, but also really fun. And then, of course, we all know COVID hit in March of 2020. Our clinic shut down. We had to do all of our classes remotely, and we weren't able to officially finish junior year. So this was super sucky because all summer we were wondering how the heck we were going to finish. We actually did not know if we were going to graduate in time. We thought we would have to have a semester or two like postponed. We had no idea what it was going to be like. We thought maybe our graduation would be put off longer. So luckily at the end of summer of 2020, we got like permission to start our school 2 weeks earlier than the university started school. And we had to grind for 2 or 3 weeks of seeing patients and finishing our curriculum from like our clinical hours and everything of our junior year. So when that spring semester ended in 2020, like when COVID was there, we still weren't like officially done with junior year. And so that was a super stressful few weeks at the beginning of what was supposed to be our senior year because we were still finishing junior year. But luckily all of us passed that. We made it. We did senior year, first semester of senior year in the fall. So 2 semesters in one was what our senior fall semester was. And that was just so chaotic. Senior year was definitely worse than junior year because it was just all patients. Almost like the requirements just got so much harder to fulfill. And it was really, really tough, like mentally for a lot of us. And COVID was still going on, of course, but somehow we were able to see and find all of the patients that we needed to. It was a struggle because a lot of patients like would cancel because of COVID, and we had to do screenings, and we also couldn't all be in the clinic at the same time like how we were able to junior year. And so we were split in half, and so there would be like weeks and weeks that we just wouldn't see the other half of our classmates, and that was really hard for all of us because such a big part of why we were doing well and having some happiness in the dental hygiene program was because of each other and the friends that we had there as a class of like 30. So that was really, really difficult. And spring semester of 2021 was just so tough. Like everyone was just trying to survive and get through it. We had to start studying for our board exams. And so we had a huge national board at the end of the final semester that we had to take. And we also had clinical boards as well, which you can hear more about in my dental hygiene school experience episode. I'd go more into detail about that. But we were finishing with all of our clinical hours. We had to finish finding our patients, and then we had to find a patient that qualified for our clinical board exams, as well as study and memorize way too much random information about teeth and oral health and overall health for our written national board. So we took five boards total at the end of our senior year, and luckily we were able to have a graduation, and we all were able to be together again with masks, and we were all very frustrated. Well, we were grateful that we had a graduation in person, but it was very frustrating to not be able to have like parents or family there at our dental hygiene graduation, because that was such a pivotal like time in our school experience to kind of like represent being done with the program, making it through, and then becoming a registered dental hygienist. So that was really sad that we didn't get to experience that with our families. But it was really great to be all together as a class. So that is my college experience. I know I spent a lot of time talking about like that first year and everything that went on there, but that was a really big part of my college, and kind of there were a lot of twists and turns around that time. A lot of things, unexpected things that came about, and I just had to kind of figure out how to navigate them best. And looking back, I feel really proud of myself and the decisions that I made on my own, and also with God. And I think that I was really guided to be in these different places at the times that I was. I know that for whatever reasons, I was supposed to be in Provo for that first part of school and in Pocatello for the rest of my school experience. So I really am happy with the way that my college experience was, even though it is different than a lot of people's. Sometimes it is easy to look back and be like, did I waste time like transferring and going through all of that stuff? Why didn't I just, if I ended up at ISU, why didn't I just start there in the first place? It doesn't really make sense. But I think I learned a lot about myself in that process, and I grew a lot. And now I have this awesome story to tell whoever wants to listen. And yeah. All right, let's get into the questions that I posted on my Instagram story, because I was reading through some of the answers and I thought they were really interesting, and I thought you guys would be interested in hearing them. So first of all, I asked, did you go to college in your home state, yes or no? And 72% of people said yes, and 28% of people said no. So it sounds like most people went to college in their home state. And yeah, the next question that I asked was, how far away was your home? How far away was your college from home? And I got a variety of answers, but a lot of people said like about a 2 to 6 hour drive. There are a lot of like 4 hours. Someone said an hour and a half. Someone said across the country. Someone said 25 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So some people that went to college, it sounds like they were pretty close to home. And then some other people said, yeah, drivable 6 hours, 4 hours, 4.5 hours, 3 hours, half an hour, 5 hours. So got a good variety here. Not many people, it sounds like, went to school super far away. So a few people said across the country or many hours away, like they had to fly. But that is not as common. The next question I asked was, are you happy with what you studied or what you are studying? And this is really interesting and good to hear. 89% of people said yes and 11% said no. I asked this question because it's just kind of been on my mind, obviously, with like graduating from college and starting a career in what I studied. I'm really happy with what I studied because of what I learned and the skills that it gave me. But I don't know if I am so happy with what I'm doing with the with what I studied right now. So I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. I know there are other options for people who have a degree in dental hygiene. There are other options outside of just working clinically. And so, you know, stay tuned and we'll see if there's a change there. But I was glad to see that a lot of people said yes, that they were really happy with what they studied. And let's see. The next question is, what was your favorite thing about college? Let's read some of the answers here. Somebody said their favorite thing was figuring out who they were. Someone said independence. Someone said the dance team, roommates, independence, freedom, getting to do what you wanted to, the friends, friendships, friends, making friends. So a lot of people said friends. Someone said a fresh start with new adventures and opportunities. Someone said meeting my husband, making lifelong friends, all of the awesome people I met. Someone said creating a new life away from home and independence. Someone said meeting my best friends, people I met in my program. Amen, sister. Yeah, I would say that my favorite part was, there's too many. I would say the independence that I learned, meeting my friends, the friends in the program, and meeting my boy Adam. I also asked what people's least favorite thing about college was, and the answers were, you guys are going to like this. Someone said homework, expenses. Someone said dating, and listen to this. Recruiting patients, dental hygiene, rude professors, dental hygiene, the stress. Can you guess who wrote all of those? My dental hygiene girls. Let's see. Someone said, someone said not hanging out with Adam more. Tyler, you just gotta come visit us and you can hang out with us here. Someone said the hardest part was being away from family on a hard day or hard week because they're a homebody. Someone said tests and homework. Someone said my accounting class. I know someone who can help you with that. Someone said, yeah, the expense. Someone said not having my mom's cooking every day. Someone said tuition. Someone said bad roommates. Stressing about grades. Yeah, I would definitely say the worst part of school was finding patients. That's mostly like in the dental hygiene program, but that was absolute torture. And I don't think anybody should have to do that. I have heard that some dental hygiene schools, I talked about this in my dental hygiene episode too, but some schools, you don't have to find your own patients. Patients just come into the clinic, or the program like helps recruit patients for you and you just get that experience there. So I think there's nothing more evil than making dental hygiene students who are doing the program to, on top of that, find their own patients like in the city or like somewhere around the school to come in and make them sit and be your patient for like hours on end for multiple appointments. That's just evil. The last question that I asked was, what do you wish you would have known before college? There's some good answers here. Someone said, I wish I would have known I would have been happier at a smaller school, which I did learn that with being at BYU and then moving to ISU. Someone said, I wish I would have known it's one of the best chapters of your life. Try not to stress too much and enjoy it. That's really good advice. Someone said, stress less. Don't try to rush through it. Enjoy it. Someone said, oh, this is good. Someone said, I wish I would have known it's okay to not make your best friends right away. That definitely takes time. So she also said, not everybody has the time of your life. It's okay to be really lonely and homesick. And that's a really good point too. I think I mean, everyone's college experience is different, but like for me, I think maybe like when I was first going to BYU and like my first time away from home, I really did miss my family and it was weird to be so far away from them. But I was able to visit them pretty often and I got used to it pretty quickly. I was still, a drivable distance away and I just had so many friends and was like busy having so much fun that even when I, was missing my family, I was able to surround myself with a lot of really amazing friends. And it's just so interesting that now that Adam and I are here in Washington, D.C. and that we're so far away from our home and like where our families are and where all of our friends were that we've made, in high school and college and in life, that right now it feels like I'm way more homesick and not having the best time and feeling lonely here instead of what I thought it might be in college. So I feel like I'm feeling way more that way now than I was when I was in college, but it's different for everyone, right? So someone else said, I wish I would have known what I was interested in studying. I changed my major a lot. That's super hard. I know that that's a struggle that a lot of people have, and a lot of people end up changing what they want to study. Someone said they wish they would have known more about debt and student loans. Someone said scholarships. Someone said, I wish I would have known how to schedule and manage my time. Someone said more options. Someone said doing concurrent credit in high school isn't really worth it. For a lot of people, I feel like it's not. So I totally get that. Someone said, I wish I would have known just work on developing yourself because that's what you like anyway. That's awesome. I appreciate all the people that were sending in responses. Is really good to hear a good variety of how people's experiences were. And yeah, I hope that this episode helped you feel like you are not alone and that really everyone's college experience is different, but also in some ways it's the same. And so we're all in it together. So with that being said, enjoy the time that you are in college right now, even though it might be super hard. Whatever you are struggling with, it is going to end. Eventually, college will be over, you'll graduate, and you will always remember the experiences that you had when you were there. That really, I think that the good times and the hard times and, everything that came along with my college experience will stick with me forever. So enjoy it. It'll be over someday. If you're already done with college, hallelujah. Good job to you for making it through. And I hope that we are all able to find our passions in life. Stay tuned for what happens with that. And thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of Traffic Jam with Cam. And don't worry, you're not the only one who despises running. You are not the only one. Okay, bye.